everyone. Welcome to our Comcast NBC Universal Sports Tech webinar. This is our very first series of sports tech webinars that we wanted to share with you today, just to talk about the application process. So let us know you're here. To the right, you'll see a chat area. Leave your email. Let us know where you're chiming in from. Today we're going to have a 30-minute discussion with two of our lead intake people from, these are top executives, by the way, at Sports Tech, and they will be here to answer just about any and every question that you may have. So get out your notepads, take some good notes, grab a cup of coffee, grab some water. We see you all chiming in, and we're glad that you're with us here today. Again, my name is Amy Wright. I am one of the marketing executives on the Sports Tech team, and happy that you guys are all here today. As I said, today we're going to do a deep dive, answer all of your questions about the application process. So guys, you ready? All right.
We're ready.
Okay, so let me first introduce our panelists. So glad that all of you are starting to chime in today. We're just now getting started. We first have Jose Vieitez. He's our portfolio director here at Comcast SportsTech. I'll just tell you a little bit about Jose. He's also a co-founder of Boomtown Accelerators. He's a founder of 5 startups, one which was acquired. He previously worked as a designer at Google. Jose was also a fellow at Access Venture Partners. He's a Stanford graduate with a background in management science, industrial engineering, and interface design. And Jose earned his MBA and master's in computer science from the University of Colorado in Boulder. He's a salsa dancer. I didn't know that. And he also serves on the board of the Thorn Nature Experience. So welcome,
Jose. You get to salsa dance? Welcome.
I'm dancing right now.
That's awesome.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining.
All right. And we also have with us our other panelist today is Jeffrey Donenfeld. He's our investment manager. Hi, Jeffrey.
Howdy.
He's a strategic and innovative investment director and international business mentor with an extensive background in advanced technologies and advising and mentoring startups worldwide. Jeffrey is experienced in building partnerships, creating and managing business development opportunities, and generating a highly successful portfolio of emerging tech companies valued at, wow, that's $360 million. That's a lot. So welcome, Jeffrey.
Thanks. Good to be here. Glad to chat.
All right. So we're getting ready to get into a set of questions. Throughout the 30 minutes, we will be looking at all the questions that you are also providing. So with that, gentlemen, thank you for coming, showing up today. We want you to just get right in. Why don't you start, Jeffrey, by just telling us a little bit about your role and what you do leading up to the application process.
Okay. My role as investment manager is to work with an awesome team, including you, Amy, and Jose, and everybody else, to find and select the companies that we end up bringing into the sports tech program. I get to look at all the applications, read through them, understand them, do background research, and let's see, I'm going to quit that. And then get to talk to all the awesome applicants and understand what you're up to. It's basically my job to chat on the phone all day with tech founders and get geeky about the tech. It's pretty cool.
Sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like you stay busy. And what about you, Jose? Tell us a little bit about your role.
Absolutely. So I wear a lot of different hats. One of the ways to summarize it is empowering each of our startups, whether that's before or after and during our program. So I'm also involved in the selections and interview process, the company review process. Each of you who have submitted an application, we get multiple eyeballs on those apps. And so I'm involved with that during the program. It's my job to just think creatively and go through all of our databases, plus all of the data points in my head as to how to help you, what mentors are best to connect you with, what investors to connect with, which of our partners, which of our other 150 plus alumni companies you could benefit from partnerships from, or from having them as clients for yourself. So I'm always just thinking about ways to help you out during the program. And after you graduate, I'm the point person for whatever resources you might need post-program, whether that's additional mentorship, connections to investors or partners, just, existential crises about what to do with your company next. And I'm the connection point to make sure that you succeed, because unless you're successful, we don't get anything back for our investment in your company. So we want to see you succeed. We're in the same boat with you guys. And that's one of my roles.
Sounds good. Okay, so now let's get into what everybody's been waiting for, and that's your insights about the application process. So Jeffrey, we're going to start with you first.
Okay.
First question for you. What makes a startup a really good fit?
That's a good question. There's so many different factors that make a startup a great fit for us. But really, it comes down to a couple top things, and we think about mindset a lot, and where you're at mentally, and really look at the founders and where they're at, and how flexible they are. We're looking for companies that are interested in working with us to get prepared for their next steps, learn everything they can about business, themselves, their pathway, and aren't afraid to ask difficult questions and question everything, and maybe even rip things apart that they're doing and re-envision how to do it. So that's one big thing, and that kind of overarches everything. We really look for an awesome team that is cohesive and can work together and loves working with each other, and can go hang out and come up with brilliant new ideas, and then sit down with future partners and make a strong showing and move forward. And then we look for awesome, innovative new ways to do a business, new technologies, new business practices, and just new fun things. We could go into this endlessly, and I'm sure Jose and I could even debate endlessly on this, but that's really what makes it special is it's a constant evolution, and we're always looking for the next awesome team to join us.
That sounds good. And you mentioned about, you're looking for new technologies. And so, Jose, I wanted to bring it over to you. I know that there are like some different kind of categories in the business industry as sports tech. And I know that our Sports Tech Accelerator talks about 7 of like those different type of verticals and categories, fan engagement. Can you tell us just a little bit more about some of those?
Absolutely. So the official 7 verticals that we're looking at are fantasy sports and betting, media and entertainment, esports, venue and event innovation, team and coach success, fan and player engagement, athlete and player performance, and the catch-all kind of category of business of sports, which is around monetizing technologies around the sports space. Those are our official 7 categories that we're trying to focus on. I would say if you're not quite within one of those, I'd still encourage you to apply, because a lot of times our partners may find something in between one of those categories, or even outside of it, that they might still find very valuable. And to that, it kind of goes into what we're looking for in our in companies. I'd add one quick thing to what Jeffrey said, which is kind of the stage of the companies that we're looking at. We're looking for companies that are not too far away from being able to get their product into a customer's hands, preferably sooner than later. And that's because, if we walk you into a conversation with the CEO of, Sky Sports, and they say, "We love what you're doing, let's do this," and it's going to take you 2 years to be able to actually, deliver on that excitement, it's probably going to go cold and they're going to move on. So that's one of the things we're looking for, the ability to execute and the ability not so much to have traction and revenue, but companies that their product can get into a customer's hands within a reasonable period of time.
Okay, sounds good. And I'm looking at both of your backgrounds and I see all these different partner logos, and I'm sure everybody out there through the application process wants to know what type of involvement do the partners have in the selection process, if any?
So during the selections process, we have so they're very involved. We don't accept a company unless one of our partners says we think they're doing something that we want integrated into our company, or that we want to in some way work with what they're doing. So they have a significant sway in selections. There might be a company that's amazing, that's going to be highly successful, but if one of our partners doesn't, if none of our partners thinks they're valuable, we unfortunately wouldn't accept that company. And the flip side to that is, if you get into our program, it means that one of our partners at least has said, we love what you're doing, and they're going to want to find a way to be involved with you and to work with you. So it's both it's a very positive constraint basically that we have. If you get in, it's because we want to do something with you guys.
And so I'm sure the very next question people will want to know is, will they get introductions? Do they have access to these partners? Like, what does that look like? Can you explain that?
Whoops, I was on mute. Yes, we can explain that, and they will get introductions and all sorts of fun stuff. So we're lucky to be able to work with some of the best partners in the industry, starting from the top and just getting to be partners in general with Comcast, NBC Universal, and then going all the way to working with, NBC Sports, Sky Sports, and then the individual sports organizations, golf, NASCAR, US Ski and Snowboard, USA Cycling. That's my awesome hat right here.
I like the hat.
Yeah, they're our newest official partner. If you guys saw the announcement.
They're pretty great. They hooked us up with all the swag.
Right.
And they've gotten me addicted to Zwifting in my basement on the bike trainer now, apparently. But so, working with them is great. And we, in working in the SportsTech Accelerator Program, you will get introduced to all or some of those partners on one level or another. And it's a huge spectrum. It can go from an introduction just to have them on email or on speed dial to be able to ask a question and see what they think about something. So say you're working on a cycling product, to be able to call the director of sports performance at USA Cycling and say, hey, is this something you guys, like we're thinking about a new direction. Is this something you guys would ever use, and get feedback, all the way to, and this is just a totally hypothetical example, but one of our partners saying, hey, you guys are making a really cool product. We've been looking for something like that. We want to integrate that into what we're doing next, or we think we have a technology that could help you guys out. Let's bring this together. Huge spectrum, no 100% guarantees, but that's that's as far as it could go. And I mean, the sky's the limit, and we leave it to you to navigate that with us helping and egging you on and working with you to take those next steps to make it happen.
So because, you have the SportsTech team looking in the application, the partners are involved, are there any good tips that we may want to mention that will help someone really, kind of go to the next level? Is there anything they should be aware of as they fill out the application?
Yeah, I mean, well, you, man.
Yeah, I would say, and we probably can both chime in on this. I would say just look through what our verticals are and our partners, and think through how your technology can specifically be applicable to one of our partners. Because like I mentioned, it could be a fantastic business. And we've got other accelerators we run, and maybe there's a fit for something there. But if right now, if you want to be for sports tech, if in order for it to be a fit, it has to fit what our partners are interested in. So if it's, for example, something very broad like payments, right? You can think about how to, maybe monetize events for, USA Cycling or for, USA Swimming or something, and think through how your company can specifically apply to those. And so if you've already submitted an application and, you didn't think through that, you can still provide updates to your app and maybe frame it around that thinking. What are your thoughts on that, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I talk to companies all the time. Just 2 hours ago, I was talking to a company, and it's a question like, hey, you guys have a really cool technology. It sounds awesome. If we were to, on our next call, if we're, sitting with, the director of the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Association, what do you say to them? What do you want to work with them on? Why is this relevant? How is it moving things forward? Rather than just being, hey, this is a cool technology, like we're working on it, or this is my passion project. Like, how do you move it forward and make it relevant? That's one thing. And then on a more, again, Jose, you and I can go endlessly on this, I'm sure, but on a technical note, in reading applications and everything, it really helps to have it succinct and wrapped up and have that one-liner be a true, powerful one-liner and not a one-paragrapher. Try to resist copying and pasting your entire prospectus or something into one of the fields, and make it so that we can read it and scan it and get the gist of what's incredible about your team and your product quickly, and that it's easy, or we feel like it would be easy to translate to the rest of our team what's so great about that.
Okay.
I think that goes a long way.
Okay. And Jeffrey, I'm going to ask you one question about equity, and then I'm seeing some really great questions over here in the chat that we're going to go to in just a second. So thanks everyone for putting in your questions. Keep doing so for the remainder of the call. But Jeffrey, tell us about the equity that Sports Tech will take from a founder, and any benefits, funding, anything that you feel that they need to know. What does that look like?
Yeah, certainly. So we take between 6 and 12% common stock equity. And we specifically only take common stock. We don't take a preferred class of stock. We really feel like that aligns us on the equity and the deal part of the business to be your true partners in the real success of your business. Doesn't allow us to just get out early or whenever we want when there's a little lift. It really incentivizes us to really be your true partners, and gives us a great position to both be in to, say after the program, to continue to work with all of us, and most notably Jose, who works with our mentors, to continue to work within our network and use benefits and everything. So that's kind of how we think about that. And in return for that, the equity, you get to come to Atlanta, go through our 12-week in-person program, individually customized classes, workshops, lectures, massive mentor network, including getting to work with lead mentors and all sorts of different mentors who will actually proactively reach out to you and take as much time as they can get because they want to work with you too. Working with our partners and brands, like I mentioned before, on that scale, anywhere from casual phone call to full-on integration. Getting to pitch at demo day and all sorts of other pre-pitch events in front of both the community as well as investors. A whole host of perks that give you the tools to do what you need on a technical and marketing level and everything. Right. And then, as I mentioned before, it could be the greatest perk of all, getting to work with Jose and the rest of us for the foreseeable future of the company as an alumni. Finally, and I'm mentioning this as the final thing because I'm trying to distance it, you get $50,000 in cash. Wow. It's meant to be spending cash so that you can live comfortably, operate comfortably during the program, so that you're not struggling to make ends meet, and so that you can really focus on the program. It's I say this at the end because it's not meant to equate with our equity. It's really a holistic approach and looking at the benefits of the entire program, all the benefits, the partners, perks, and all of that, in addition to a smidge of cash just to move you along a little bit.
Okay. Now, to me, that sounds totally awesome.
Me too.
But I also know that there could be some other accelerators out here, but it seems like this definitely is a step above. How would you say that we compare or are better than any other sports tech accelerators out there? I guess you really packaged it up already, but.
Yeah. I'd be glad to jump in there. I'm familiar with many others, and actually later today, I'm giving a talk about how to choose the right accelerator to an MBA class. And that's in general. Every accelerator you consider, you should do your research. Different accelerators have different goals, have different, they fit different needs. And in our case, our goal isn't just to, this isn't a logo parade for us to put a bunch of different, logos up there and look cool. And then, you come over here, go through a generic accelerator, graduate, and then, say you went through it, and that's the end of it. We're here to build good businesses, and to help you guys be successful, because we're successful when we have success stories of companies that we can prove that we helped and added value to. And every one of our logos, every one of our partners that are up here, and it's mirrored, so I think they're up here. Every one of our partners that we have has committed to wanting to work with you. And it doesn't mean all of them will be working with you, but rather you will at least have one that has said, I want to work with this company. It isn't just they wanted to look cool and then put their logo up there. We're talking to lots of other partners who want to do that, but they haven't been able to commit, and they're not up there. You don't see those partners up there. So the ones you see have said, we want to actually work with companies. So this is not an accelerator. This is an accelerator where the goal is to get real connection, feedback, and potential integration into some of these companies, which just one conversation with, the head of innovation for one of these partners can make or break your company, because, it can take years to get to that one person, and you're getting multiple touch points with that partner. And Jeffrey mentioned, a range of interactions that you have with them. That range depends on the partner. It doesn't depend on the company. In other words, if you come in here, you will at least have one partner that you will have deeper interactions with, that you will be meeting with and having kind of more in-depth interactions with. But if you want to access some of the ones that haven't necessarily said there's a good fit with, you still have potential different levels of access to some of those partners, even if they, you're a time tracking app and it's, you're looking at something that has nothing to do with time. Some of these other partners might say, okay, we at least want to give you feedback. So that range is across the partners, but you will at least have one. And we're looking at, on average, we're seeing 1, 2, 3 partners per company that they're actually finding your companies interesting. So our goal is for them to be kind of fighting over you and wanting to hang out more with you and say, look, we really made this company. We made these guys be successful by USA Swimming saying we supported them. So that's what I'll say. This is my summary is this accelerator is to get partnerships, is to work with our partners. It's not just a generic accelerator.
Totally.
Okay. And as far as dates are concerned, I know the program actually starts February 22nd and will go through May 14th. Jeffrey, question for you. Is this going to be an in-person program? It sounds like it is. Yep.
It's an in-person program. And of course, we're all closely monitoring the state of the pandemic. And this is something that we really place a lot of importance on. But given that we are at the spot in history where it's safe and appropriate to collect in large groups like that, so all of this is caveated with that disclaimer, because that's the primary concern is health and safety. It is an in-person program, and we do that for a number of reasons. First of all, we like hanging out with you and and shooting the shit and hearing what you're working on and everything. But also it's an intense program. It's 12 weeks, classes, workshops, lectures, mentors, events, pitching, and everything. And we really want to be able to have you fully present and there to fully work on what you're doing. Yeah, and we love building the community. We try to build the cohorts so that it's, companies coming together that are doing different things, that aren't directly competing and trying to take each other down, but are able to have conversations like, hey, you're working on that tech. Actually, I might be able to use like some ideas in mind. Like, can we talk about this? And have some cooperation and camaraderie there. And, I mean, I'm just thinking back to the last cohort that we ran in Boulder, and one of my favorite times of the week is on Thursdays at our 360 get together, where we get the whole cohort together and we all have a beer and just talk about what we're working on and what we're doing in our lives. And it's a great community atmosphere that I really think breeds creativity, forward movement, keeps people motivated.
Okay.
And it's a powerful thing.
Okay. And believe it or not, we're down to our last like 2 to 3 minutes, and I want to jump over
already
really quick.
This was so much fun.
Yes, it went by fast. So we have, let me see, a few questions over here. Deepak has asked a question. So thank you for sending that over. The question is, how do you balance the long-term vision versus a short-term deliverable? At the accelerator.
Yeah. I saw that question.
Okay.
And I love it because it actually hits at the core of why we're also different, not just in this specific accelerator, but as Boomtown accelerators as a whole. Our goal is not just to put lipstick on a pig on demo day and help you raise a bunch of money in order to boost our numbers and say, look how much money our companies have raised. We actually think raising money for the sake of it is not necessarily in the founder's best benefit. And so what we've done from the very beginning is try to change the primary customer from being the investor to being the entrepreneur. So everything we do as an accelerator, as a program, is through the lens of how does this help entrepreneurs first and foremost. And so you asked a question of how you differentiate short-term deliverables in the accelerator with long-term benefits of your company. And to us, we actually merge them together. And if a short-term deliverable is in conflict with the value and benefit of your company, we wouldn't put that into the program in the first place. And if you somehow identify that, we're always iterating and changing. We take that feedback and we say, okay, I can see how in your specific scenario, this doesn't quite fit and you don't need to do this session. Or if you can make the argument that it's not valuable in general, we constantly are iterating and changing. We've got some of the foremost thought leaders in design thinking, innovation, and bringing innovations into reality, into fruition on our team. And so that means that we're never sit still too long. So during the program, you get concrete, valuable, actionable and things that you're working on that are actually going to be to the benefit both short-term and long-term for your company. Yeah, so I know we're at time, but I love that question. I can go into that for a while.
Okay, great, Jose. And I saw another question over here. Someone who has actually started the application process already back in April. Of course, by now there's been some changes. Is there a process or a rule about going in and changing your application before you submit? If you make a mistake, what does that look like with the form? Yeah.
You can use F6S to give us updates. Also, you can email myself or Jose to give us updates. Kind of whatever. We don't have any hard and fast rules with how you communicate updates to us. We love to be in touch with you. And yeah, the F6S updates, they get sent straight to our emails, and so we do see those. Okay. And then we have an internal system that we use to make sure that we track that. So when we're looking at our whole communication history, we can see your update in there too.
Okay. All right. Any last words? I know one of the things I wanted to ask real quick, do you accept founders that are out of the United States?
Yep.
And then wrap up with any last minute words you wanted to say.
We do accept international founders. We love working with teams from all over the world. If it was okay to travel right now, I would probably be traveling to various conferences to meet you all over the world. We love doing that. We love connecting people from both, the accelerators in Atlanta, both the local Atlanta area, the United States, and the rest of the world. It typically comes out to a third, or somewhere in there.
Okay, sounds good. And Jose?
And my last words are, my last words would be, if you're kind of on the fence about applying and you're not quite sure, I'd say go for it. It's worth a shot. If you've got, if there are reasons you think you might not be a fit, just make that note. In the last question, there's a part that says anything else you'd like us to know. Just kind of insert that. You're like, I'm not quite sure if I'm a good fit. Like, but it's still worth it's still worth a shot, because we never know when one of our partners says, oh, we had no idea that we wanted this, and you actually might end up being a good fit. So I'd say go for it. It's worth a shot, and I look forward to meeting you guys in person soon.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate all your great feedback today. It looks as if we're going to have another webinar coming up, number 2, on next Wednesday, August 5th. And then there's going to be a third webinar on Thursday, August 11th. So thanks again, everyone, for sharing with us today. We hope we've answered some great questions, and we will see you next week. If you have any additional outreach items, you have the emails there in the chat. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, you do have the emails. Good stuff.
All right. All right. Bye, everybody. See you later. Take care.
Bye, everyone.